Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Goalpost. I'm your host, Oluwamayowa. I'm not alone. I have Solomon making a return, and Solomon, we've missed you a whole lot. I know, you're unfortunately not able to join us yesterday. I know you had a whole lot. A whole lot of people. Colin said maybe you were mourning the exit of Ronaldo. I will not. I will not. I will not want to go down route. However, the World Cup is getting to the later stage, and it's becoming much more interesting. We saw Spain knock out Ronaldo. Ronaldo frustrated. The whole lot of people coming for him. The whole lot of people giving him accolade. The whole lot of people talking about Roberto Martinez and the rest of that. I know Ronaldo is your good, and we are going to talk about that later. However, let's start with what happened yesterday. Egypt 2-0. They were leading, and you would expect Egypt to be much more calmer and be able to win the game. You've said it consistently, and credit should be given to you. I don't think anybody who analyzes football talked about this. You are the first person to talk about it as regards the African teams. They have a knack of conceding, I would say terrible or cheap goals, because they have a whole lot of people behind the ball and they end up conceding. It happened between Senegal and Belgium. It happened with Ivory Coast, and the story goes on. How do you score 2 goals against an Argentina side and you end up losing the game 3-2? What do you make of that particular game?
Okay, so Egypt were fantastic in the first half. They were fantastic at the beginning of the second half, right? And in my predictions for that particular match, I did tip Egypt to win. Yes, there is the Ronaldo bias. I won't lie about that. However, when I watched Egypt Belgium, that was where I knew that this was a different Egypt side. At AFCON, they weren't all that. So coming into this World Cup, you wouldn't even tip them to do so well, right? But when I watched their match against Belgium, it took an Egyptian own goal for Belgium to equalize. They were very good. Egypt, they were very good in that particular match. Holding up play, getting across to the opponent's box as much as they could. And again, their number 8 player, Asho, he has been a standout player in this tournament. Fantastic footballer, right? They did everything right. Defend as much as you can, but still go up front. We know very well that Argentina would have the upper hand. That is not in any way surprising. It's expected, right? However,
Obviously,
Argentina they were there for the taking. They were there for the taking. You have gone 2-0 up. Even if you would not be able to mount as much pressure as you ought to, because obviously the quality of Argentina, the Argentinian side is still obvious to all. However, still come out to play. You are not Paraguay, because we've seen Paraguay play the most demonic defense. Yes, in this tournament, right? They went 10-man down against Turkey. They led 1-0 and they closed shop. They did the same thing against Germany. They did the same thing against France. In fact, it took a penalty. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are not Paraguay. You don't have that strength in the defense. What do? You defend well, that's fine, you do that well. Your keeper has been exceptional. Play again in the midfield up front. At some point, they were giving balls away. The second balls, they were not able to get the second balls. They were not able to attack Argentina as they were. Because now you see, look at the sequence of play. After the second goal, which was disallowed, they still had to come again. They kept coming again. But after the second goal, they were not coming again. That's the problem. That's where it started. You had scored the second goal. Beautiful. I mean, it was very much, needed, right? But if you've been following football for a while now, 2-0 is the worst type of scoreline to want to, defend or want to just believe that you've won. No, most comebacks are usually 2-0. Let me not even say most, but quite a number of the comebacks that we have, they are usually 2-0 from 2-0 down.
I mean, it has happened twice in this World Cup. Belgium, Egypt.
Right? I just do not understand how Egypt. And now here's the thing: the timing is like Senegal, Belgium, right? In 3 minutes, you conceded 2 goals. Egypt conceded 3 in 15 minutes.
Yes.
How? How were you playing so well? And then from the 70th minute or from the 73rd minute, you just switched off. Now,
Solomon, before you go ahead, the third goal Argentina scored. Yes, a lot of people might say, Salah was touched in the 18 and just that's the conversation that we'll still get into. However, if you look at when that ball was won from Salah, you had about 6-7 Egyptian players in the half of Argentina when the game was already 2-2. Who does that? Why? Why are you doing that at that critical time that people are tired and there's probably a loss of concentration? Don't you think that was a mistake on the part of the players, or the coach did not, did not tell them that at this point that you are conceding goals, you've conceded 2 goals in quick succession, the momentum is with Argentina, you are supposed to slow down the pace to get yourself properly. How do you allow Argentina with one pass cut out 6-7 players? How?
that's brilliant, right? That's a very, very brilliant thing. However, if you watch the sequence of play with Egypt, the second goal that was disallowed, the second goal that they scored, and a particular counter attack that Omar Mamouche spoiled, he literally took the ball away from Salah's leg, and he could not even pass to the player he was supposed to pass to. If you watch the sequence of play, that's what Egypt did very well in yesterday's match, right? They were able to, once they get that counter, get their players into the other half, into Argentina's half, and it was not surprising that they did that, even for that third goal. What was surprising, however, was how Enzo Fernandez was able to get to that ball in that third goal.
Yeah.
Left to me, that defender should have done better. That defender should have done. There was absolutely no reason why Enzo Fernandez should get to that ball before you. Absolutely no reason. That is a ball that you ought to be clearing out easily. You should be clearing that ball out easily. Because here's the thing, it's easy to get carried away by the emotions when you are watching the match. Just watch the replays afterwards. That's the best way to know this. Watch the replays afterwards, and then you can give a much more informed discourse
analysis
surrounding the sequence of play, right? Just look at, yes. Another thing I think that would amount to that is because honestly, till the end of that match, the match was still not won. Even till the end of the match, the match was still very much. Argentina could have scored 4-2 if they wanted, because obviously at some point they were managing the game, which they obviously needed to do. They were already 3-2 up, right? If they could have scored 4-2, right? Egypt too could have equalized as well. So it was not in any way surprising that they still went all out like that, even though it was 2-2 up already. It was not exactly surprising that they went all out like that, because as I said, the game was still there for the taking. What, however, now, what baffles me, however, as I said, is that Enzo Fernandez was able to get to that ball before the defender. It was a cross from, I think, Julian Alvarez, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Lautaro Martinez crossed the ball. Lisandro Martinez gave that pass under the guidance of Messi. Messi told Martinez to play a long ball. Messi was reading that particular situation. He knew the Egyptian players were, a whole lot of them were in the half. He just told Martinez throw that pass, and that was it.
There was absolutely no way Enzo Fernandez should have gotten that. To be honest, there was absolutely no way Enzo Fernandez should have gotten that. Now, I don't like to get into conspiracy theories, because obviously You know, in football, there's always bias. It's not even just in football. Is in real life. Is in what you believe in. You know, is in religion. Is in the society. Your bias. There's always a bias, right?
True. True.
And I try as much as possible not to buy into some of these things because I want to be as objective as I can be. However, facts are already, you can't just take away the fact that these things are happening. First off, why will FIFA president come out and say that he suffered terribly because of Argentina and Cape Verde match? Why will you say that? Why would you come out to say that? You can't say that. You can't say that, especially when people are already putting up theories that Messi is FIFA's boy, Messi is FIFA's golden boy, and then now FIFA president himself.
So Solomon, if you want to say that, I think FIFA has made a whole lot of mistakes. Let me start with some few things. You might agree and you might disagree, but I want to give you a sequence before that particular statement.
That's fine.
First, it was Ronaldo. He had a record. They suspended that record. They could have missed some of the openers of the World Cup. FIFA suspended it under Article 27 or whatever it is. Then came the situation of Folarin Balogun. Donald Trump put pressure on FIFA, and FIFA actually caved, and that disrupted a whole lot of game. Now come this ridiculous statement that is coming from the FIFA president. So I think the controversy spread a whole lot in the competition.
That's very fine. Thank you very much for those instances. Now, it's not a case of a one-off. The Ronaldo incident is a one-off. The Folarin Balogun incident, as insane, pardon my use of English, as crazy as that was, because I see no reason why that should have happened ever, right? As crazy as that was, it's also a one-off. But look at Argentina. Look at Messi's first match against Algeria, a red card, clear, blatant red card. Everybody should agree on that. But again, as I said, bias is there, right? The goal that they scored against Austria, McAllister literally. When we talk about these things, now this is the way it works, right? This is the way it works, and I can say it because I'm an Arsenal fan. I've seen these things happen. We literally see these things happen, right? Now, when you watch the Lisandro Martinez foul, the one that the goal was the second goal of Egypt that was
the second goal that they cancelled.
Yes, I kid you not. I have watched over 80% of this tournament, if not over 90% of this tournament. I've watched probably almost all the matches, right? And I can tell you for a fact that in this particular tournament, I have seen worse fouls not given. Worse.
But let me play devil's advocate, and I will allow you to go on.
Okay.
I was watching the analysis of the foul, and according to the VAR laws, right? According to the rule in the VAR rule book, if a foul is committed, if a foul is committed in the possession of, in the start of an attack, definitely VAR needs to intervene and take away that particular goal. The same thing had happened, I think, in the Uzbekistan and DR Congo game. The same thing happened. I think there was a foul. I can't remember the sequence. I know it's in that same game, Uzbekistan, DR Congo. A foul happened, and they had to bring the ball back even after the player has gone off for a while and it resulted into a goal or something like that. Yeah. So I think there's a precedence for this. But the big question a whole lot of people will ask is this, and I know you are coming there, is the winning the ball that led to the third goal. Yes, the player actually got the ball first, but there was a follow through on Mo Salah's leg. If you pick the Lisandro one, yes, that Lisandro one is very obvious. He didn't get the ball first. He matched Lisandro Martinez before the ball. If you would call that a foul, why didn't you take that one to VAR? Because VAR did not check at all, and that's where the controversy is.
Mr. Mayowa, you see that rule that you mentioned. is exactly why I'm saying that. Why did that rule not apply to Argentina's goal against Austria? I'm not here to debate because I am a Ronaldo fan. I have said it that I try as much as possible to be objective. We are still coming to Portugal, so just pay attention to things I'm going to be saying. So stay tuned, okay? Now, I'm not talking about the fact that there are some fouls that were not given. If a Messi fan should be on this conversation with us now, a Messi fan would, and rightly bring up fouls that have also been committed by other teams in this particular tournament that were not given. That's
True,
completely
true,
fine. What I am saying is the inconsistency. That's the problem.
true,
It is
true.
either Lisandro Martinez's foul is a foul, or the one on Monsala is a foul. Both of them are fouls, or neither of them are not. No, that's the way it works. Neither of them is not. That's the way it works. Or now, here's the thing. People are focused on Musala's incident. Me, I am focused on McAllister's pulling of, I think it was Zico, and on the edge of the box. Right when Musala was going to dribble back, McAllister pulled an Egyptian player at the edge of the box, obviously obstructing him from going forward. Why was that not given as a foul? And we can go on and on and on about these things. Now let me give you another incident. Yesterday, Argentina had 13 fouls. 13. They got away with everything. They had 0 yellow cards. 0.
But that's true.
0 yellow card.
That's true.
Do you know the funny thing is? Tagliafico should have gotten carded in the 6th minute. Romero on Salah. Rodrigo de Paul. Clear fouls that should have warranted a yellow card. None was given. Now, here's the thing. And Argentina, a Messi fan came to me and said, "Oh, but if you watch the match, Egyptians, they got 11 fouls, and they were, even the cards that they were given, it was not necessarily because of the fouls. It was because of the,
because of their complaint and off the field card, yeah.
And that's the problem. That is the problem. The inconsistency is what I'm talking about. Me, I am not here to help you judge whether it was supposed to be Argentina that was supposed to get the fouls or because they won or something. I'm not here to help you debate whether or not Egypt was supposed to get the fouls. I'm here to tell you that the inconsistency will always be a problem. And if a particular team is getting away with it more than others, there's a problem. If one team is getting away with it more than the other teams, there's a problem. Because here's the thing, you can go on and pick up fouls that happen with other teams, but as I said, most times, if not all the time, in this particular tournament, they are one-off incidents. But with Argentina, it's not a one-off thing. It's not a one-off thing. That's the problem. Even in the match against Cape Verde, there was a blatant foul right beside the box that was supposed to be given, but was not given. That's the problem. The reason why people can say that Messi is FIFA's golden boy is because of all of these things.
No, but I mean, I know you want to be objective. I know you know where your Ronaldo at now. In that game yesterday, how good was Lionel Messi in that game yesterday?
See, that's a debate question, or that's you just wanting to corner me with that particular question.
I want you to be objective. I mean,
he lost a penalty.
True.
Right? And now, in 8 penalties at the World Cup, he has lost 4 of them.
Yes.
And he has converted only 4 of them. Right?
True.
Yesterday was just another Messi's performance. That's why he's the second best player in the world. Or ever. Right? He was just Messi. I'm being objective right now. He was just Messi being Messi. Right? Now, here's the thing. If there's anybody that would inspire a comeback, is expected to be Messi. And that's exactly what it did.
True.
Right? If there's anybody that's supposed to inspire a comeback, and this is what I tell people. Kylian Mbappe, Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland. You know, we can go Lamine Yamal. We can go on and on. Bukayo Saka, even. These are players that, on a good day, you leave them on the pitch until the match is over. Because you know that if anything is going to happen at all, these are the players that can make it happen. I'll give you very, very many instances. Look at the match, Norway, Norway, Ivory Coast.
Okay.
Not even Norway, Brazil. Norway, Ivory Coast. Was Erling Haaland in that match? No. Absolutely no.
He had only 69 touches.
Erling Haaland was not in that match. But guess what? Who scored the winning goal?
Haaland.
What will the conversation be about? The goal. Will the conversation be about whether he had 50 touches? Will the conversation be about whether he defended? No. The conversation will be about the fact that he scored the winning goal, because that is who Haaland is and that's what he's supposed to do. Simple. So how good was Messi? He was just being Messi. That's exactly what he's expected to do, and that's exactly what he did. Inspire a comeback, be the one to get the assist, be the one to get the goal, and that's exactly what he did. Now, this is not in any way, talking about his greatness. I am not doing that. I will never do that, right? He's a great footballer, and he has shown it time and time and time again. In this particular tournament, he's the only player to have scored in all the matches in this tournament, right? He now has 8 goals, right?
8 goals. 8 goals.
Now has 8 goals. 8 goals. And he has scored at least a goal in every match in this tournament. So I don't want to say he's a brilliant player, because brilliant does not quite cut it. No, brilliant does not quite cut it. For people like Ronaldo, Messi, you can't use brilliant, you can't use good. You put them on the level where they're supposed to be, right? And as I said, if there's anybody that should inspire a comeback for Argentina, it's obviously Lionel Messi. You can tell how integral, how important, how much of the team he is himself, right? And that's exactly what we saw yesterday. So we might want to get into that conversation of how African teams, are not able to see matches to the end, and that's concerning.
No, but the question is this: do you think most of these African teams, they are not in the airspace that they think they can do it? Because the Senegal game, how do you outplay Belgium and you collapse in the 86th minute? The Egypt game, how do you? I can bet it with you. The only team that would have survived that yesterday with 2 goals ahead would be Cape Verde. The only team that has the headspace, the only team that has the headspace of I can win this game. I don't care who you are. You might be the world best. Is Cape Verde. Every other African team, I don't think they are in the headspace of we can actually beat these guys. And I think that's a problem.
Okay, Mr. Maiwa. So, again, as I said, I try as much as possible not to buy into conspiracy theories. So one thing I do is that I also try as much as possible to check out statistics. I check out facts and all of these things. Because as you know, I also do videos that I want people to be informed about, right? So this is what I saw. Now, 9 Asian teams, 9 of them qualified for this World Cup.
True.
Mr. Maiwa, do you know how many Asian teams are left?
0.
0. Mr. Maiwa, 6 South American teams qualified for this World Cup. 6. Do you know how many are left?
1.
And who's that one? Argentina, as expected. As expected. Now, how many African teams qualified? 9.
No, 10.
Do you know how many African teams are left?
1.
Morocco. Let me now bring it to Europe. 16 European teams qualified. 16. Do you know how many are left? 6. 6. So look at that. 6 European teams, 1 African team, 1 South American team. And of all these countries, Morocco and Argentina, they are the expected teams to be in the quarterfinals. If you are going to pick a country from Africa that is going to that's going to make you proud in the World Cup, is Morocco.
Well, that's done it before. They did this before, yeah.
if you're going to pick a team from South America to make you proud, it's Argentina. It's Argentina. In England, in Europe, we have England, Spain, Norway, Belgium, Switzerland, and no,
France,
England, Spain, Belgium, Norway, Switzerland, and
France,
what
France,
16 am I
France,
missing?
France.
France. Oh, I want that on France. 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 Of these six teams that I mentioned, the only team that is supposed to be an exception is Norway.
Well, that's true. That's true. Nobody expected them to be there. That's true.
Now, here's the way it works. Mr. Maiwa, why is nobody talking about the mentality of Asian teams?
Hmm.
Why is nobody talking about the
Hmm.
mentality of South American teams?
No, but Solomon, to be fair, our football is more advanced than them.
Mr. Maiwa, hold on. Mr. Maiwa, hold on. Mr. Maiwa, hold on. If you say our football is more advanced than them, I'll give you the stats. Do you know that Japan has qualified for the knockout stages in the past 6 World Cups, and they've not won
That's true.
one?
That's true.
One. They've qualified for all 6, like from 2006 till now. They've qualified throughout for the knockout stages. They've not won one. Japan were ahead of Brazil, and they lost the match.
True.
So nobody is coming out to say that, oh, this particular set of people, they have a terrible mindset or whatnot, or they are not able to get through to see matches through to the end. They are not in the right headspace. If anything at all, you would say, oh, the coach tactics went wrong. They just switched off at some point. They just were not able to meet up with the quality of play and all of that. Those are the excuses that people would make, right? But nobody is saying that same thing about African teams. And next to me, maybe, just maybe, we are still all battling with low self-esteem. Maybe, just maybe, we still think that we have imposter syndrome. We are not supposed to be here. And that's exactly why I said that if you are expecting any African team to do the damage or to do you proud, it's going to be Morocco. And it's going to be Morocco because they've been able to break that threshold. If Asamoah Gyan had converted that penalty in 2010,
True.
if Asamoah Gyan had converted that penalty in 2010, Ghana would be a better footballing nation than they are in the World Cup.
That's true.
Ghana against Colombia, played a total of 0 shots. They had Antoine Semenyo, they had Jordan Ayew,
No
they
shot on
had
target.
Inaki Williams. No 0 shots. See, the worst thing about Jordan Ayew is not the fact that he does not have any shot on target. It's the fact that he did not have any shots in 4 matches. A striker, a number 9, did not have one shot. He did not have any in 4 matches. Is that also a mindset thing for a player that has played in top teams in England? Is that also a mindset thing? Is it that he cannot? He wants to say that he has not met these players before? Is he having imposter syndrome? Is he feeling less than what you call now than the Army Rodriguez or a Luis Diaz or a Quintero? Is that what you're saying? That you cannot stand up to Quintero to play football? You cannot stand up to a Daniel Munoz to play football? Is that what we're saying? Okay, look at the quality of that Senegal team. Which one of those Senegal players is playing outside of, is not playing outside of Senegal? How many of them are not playing outside of Senegal?
None.
Mani, Ndaye, Mbaye, Papge, Idrissa, all of them.
Abib Diarra.
These people, they have trophies amongst them. They have trophies.
True.
Amongst them. Do you want to tell me that these same players that have these trophies, Crystal Palace just won the Europa League?
Europa League, yeah.
You want to tell me that Ismail Assar does not know what he's doing? Is it Europa League or Conference League rather? The Conference League.
Conference League.
Won the
Europa League.
You want to tell me that Ismail Assar does not have the mentality, does not have the mindset? Is it not Mane that came back to win the Saudi Pro League with Al Nassr Has this
True.
Sadio Mane not won the Champions League, has not won the Premier League with Liverpool?
True.
Is it not that same Pap Gay that came on and demolished Iraq or Iran in their last match in the group stage?
True.
So what exactly are we talking about in terms of mentality? These are not local players. They did not come from they are not in the academy, or they are not coming from their local leagues. They are these people are starters in their teams. They are starters in their teams. They're starters. Is it Diata? They're starters in their teams. So what are we talking about? If we say that it's a mindset thing, I still buy into it. I still buy into it. I'm not completely taking that away from it, because why exactly do you fall in the dying minute? It's something that we need to check. Look at the match Ivory Coast versus Norway. Ivory Coast was Norway. Norway went 1-0 up, then Cote d'Ivoire now started playing and playing and playing and playing, and they got 1-1. They scored 1-1.
Yeah,
and they started defending.
Ahmad
Diallo, they scored 1-1 and they started defending. I could not reconcile it again. I could not. I'm like, okay, why did you play so well to score 1-1? And instead of continuing to mount pressure on an already tired Norway team, you now decided to defend, allowing Odegaard to control the play, to dictate the terms of play, and you started defending. Why wouldn't you concede? Why would you concede? And that's exactly what we saw with Egypt yesterday. I genuinely do not have an issue with you, what's it called now? Conceding 2-1. I don't have an issue with that. It's football. You conceded 2-1, that's fine. But that is the time when, as you mentioned, you're supposed to manage the game.
True.
That's what you need to manage the game.
Waste time, manage the game, kill the tempo, and Messi is done.
Now, let me tell you something, Mr. Bawa. This is what people that, they are always a fan of statistics, like goals and assists, or somebody had more possession. That's what they don't watch. And I'll give you a very good example with the Norway-Brazil match, and then we can now talk about these African teams. The Norway-Brazil match, right? You have a Bruno Guimaraes, a Casemiro, a Vinicius. They all came out to say that they could not play well, or they could not, be as fast as they want to because of Odegaard. And people will tell you that Odegaard is a terrible player when he is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. What is he supposed to do? Control the tempo of the game. Do not allow Brazil to be as fast as they ought to.
True.
Because Norway do not have the strong defense. Norway, they don't. They give away 2 penalties in one match. How can you give away 2 penalties in one match? As a defensive mechanism, you are giving away 2 penalties against Brazil in one match. They don't have that defensive style of play. So they know that if they are going to kill Brazil, they needed Odegaard to stop the play as many times as possible, and that's exactly what he did. The one that people are going to complain that, he's touching the balls too much, or he's having too many touches, he's intentionally ensuring that Brazilians are weary, they are worn out. But we don't see that with any of these African teams when they go ahead. We don't see it. Nobody is trying to manage the game. Nobody is trying to control the tempo of the game. And that's where Egypt lost it yesterday. You were 2-0 up. You are the ones in control. That is the mindset you should have had. Now we they lead this team. Now we suppose they tell them how to play. That's what you should have done.
True.
But no. You went to defend and allowed Argentina to continue to mount pressure on you. And what happens with pressure is that eventually you will cave. And once you cave, you will lose. It's easy. It's simple.
True.
It's simple. If they kept that 2-0 match, if they kept that 2-0 scoreline until the 90th minute, for instance, right, we could have said that they would have conceded 1 goal and it would have been fine. But you see, considering 2-1 with that amount of time left,
sure,
it was obvious they would lose. It was obvious they would lose it. It was obvious. It was obvious they would lose it. Because as I said, once you cave in under pressure like that, your opponent now knows that they can win. especially with that amount of time left. If you did not cave in under pressure at that particular point in time, your opponent continues to lose hope. But you gave them hope. In the 74th or in the 75th minute, what do you think will happen? With 15 minutes normal time, they will now add 6 minutes extra. That's a whole 21 minutes.
They added 11.
11 minutes. Look at, it took Belgium only 3 minutes. What do you think is going to happen with Lionel Messi in 26 minutes? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, this same Lionel Messi against Bayern Munich, when he was still a backer, it only took him 20 minutes to do the damage. True. Bayern Munich had defended for 70 minutes. The remaining 20 minutes, he just killed Boateng, and that's how they won. That's what I'm saying. Now, the only African team that is left is Morocco. One thing I'll just say to Africans,
and they are facing off against France.
And facing off against France, that's obviously, you know. So what I'm going to say to Africans and to African teams is this. Behind the scenes of Senegal, for instance, now, we were told, or we have learned, that the coach has not been paid his dues, you know, the players have not been paid their dues. We need to make sure that systems are in place to allow our players thrive and be their very best. That's number one thing we need to work on as Africans. Look at Morocco, for instance. Morocco is set to host the World Cup. Do you know what it means for you to be set to host the World Cup? It means that you have gotten your system right. There is something Morocco is doing that is right, that other Africans are not doing right. You don't hear Hakimi come out and say that the Moroccan FA, they are owing them match bonuses or this and that. You don't hear that. This type of things will spill onto the field of play, where the players will begin to think, what exactly are we playing for? I mean, if we don't win, it doesn't matter. If we win, they don't give us our money. So why exactly should they play? That's the problem. No matter how patriotic you are, it gets to a tipping point. Right? Number two, when we get our systems right, we need to now get players that are loyal to the badge. Players that this is one of the things that I have learned from Mikel Arteta. If you do not want Arsenal from the very beginning, we also do not want you. We don't want a player that will be dilly-dally. We don't dilly-dally. We call for you, and we don't even need to. I will give you instances. Gyökeres literally cut down his own salary to come to Arsenal. Ricardo Calafori said Arsenal or nothing. These are players that want to play for the badge. If the players that we are calling to our national team, if they do not want to give their all or nothing, they should move. The likes of Jordan Ayew, Inaki Williams, move. By the way, why is Jordan Ayew your starting striker? Why? How is Jordan Ayew your starting striker in 2026? Jordan Ayew.
Nepotism. It's because of his dad. Because of the dad. Just like you have Lucas Zidane. Lucas Zidane is bad, and they continue to keep him in the goalpost. I don't understand it.
That's what I'm saying. How? Zidane was terrible in this tournament. Terrible. Let's say the truth. Why exactly do you still keep playing these people? And that is one of the things I'm saying with Eric Chell and Nigeria. Nigeria should better leave that man to do his job. They should leave him to do his job.
True.
If that man continues on this path, we will have generations to come that will be able to play football for Nigeria, not the ones that will now have to be begging players to come and play for the country. No, we should have moved past that stage now. This is the reason why we see the last two AFCON tournaments have shown us something that we do not see in previous tournaments. Africa is here to stay. In what football? We are here to stay. We are beginning to put our foot down and say we want to make it.
Do you think?
Yes.
Do you think 2030 or 2034 is the year Africa will win the World Cup?
Not yet.
Why? I mean, we have a Morocco. We have a Morocco that is, putting fears in the heart of people. We have an Egypt. Yes, they failed yesterday. They almost kicked out Argentina We have a Cabo Verde.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people say it's a fluke. They
Yeah.
almost kicked out Argentina too. Are there not
That's
signs?
it.
Are there not signs that it seems we are getting close?
Oh, there are signs that we're getting close, but we're still far. There are signs that we're getting close. We're still far. Mr. Mawa, look at the statistics for World Cup. Do you know that first off, if you are going to win a World Cup, your coach has to be a citizen of your country.
Right, that's true.
Go and watch
That's true.
all the teams that
That's
won the
true.
World Cup, all of them,
That's true.
their coaches have been they have been citizens of the country, all of them,
That's true.
all of them,
That's true.
all of them. See, in terms of the style of play, in terms of staying toe to toe with opponents, we are getting there. That place where you can play football, I can play football, we are getting there. Do you understand? We are getting there. But in tournaments, you need more than that, especially in tournaments that is not a league. For instance, a league is 38 matches. This one is just 7 matches.
Well, that's true.
The remaining, you understand, the remaining 4 matches, they are very, very important. If you don't win, you get knocked out. That is the problem. That's where the problem is. Getting out of the group stage is not a problem again for us. We can always get out of the group stage. You know where the problem is? The problem lies in our ability to see matches to the end. That is the problem. Do we have the mental bandwidth? Do we have the mental fortitude to say that irrespective of what is happening, we can do this, we can make this happen? We are there. We will do this. That's why I said it's easy for us to support Morocco, because Morocco has been there, they've done that. Mr. Awa, do you know what it means for Luis Suarez to have committed a foul in the box 18, to have handled the ball with his hands in the goalpost in 2010, and still stood on the way to the dressing room, still watched Asamoah Gyan miss that penalty?
Well,
Whose
that's true.
mentality do you think will be better?
Well, that of the Uruguay guys, Luis Suarez, definitely,
It's obvious. That's what I'm
definitely.
saying. You have not crossed that threshold yet. If you cross that threshold, then you cannot begin to make claims as to wanting to win the World Cup. When we cross that threshold, because Mr. Mawa, it won't be just one African team trying to win. It won't be just one. The only reason why we can even give it to Argentina in South America is because, again, Argentina has been there, they've done that.
True.
Right? They've been there, they've done that. And they have a better history than African teams in the World Cup, right? They've been there, they've done that. If Africa is going to get to that point where we'll be making claims to winning the World Cup, then we need more than one team to do the damage. We need more than one team to do the damage.
That's true. If you want to stand a better chance to win the World Cup, we need at least 4 or 5 in the quarterfinals, not one.
Look, Mr. Mawa, look at this now. Look at this now. I gave you the statistics earlier that 16 European teams qualified for the World Cup. Six of them are in the quarterfinals. 6 of them are in the quarterfinals. In fact, they are facing off against each other. England is facing Norway. Spain is facing Belgium, right?
Belgium, yeah.
Spain is facing Belgium. Only France is facing Morocco, and then Argentina is facing Switzerland. So
Switzerland.
It means that automatically 2 European teams are in the semi-final.
Yeah, true.
Automatically.
True.
2 European teams in the semi-final. And that obviously means that the European team is in the final already.
True.
So that's what we're saying. If you're going to make claims to wanting to win the World Cup, you will need more African teams to step up. And that team that should have stepped up is Senegal, and they fell by the wayside. I feel pained about that Senegal match, because that's a match that they should have won easily. They are one of the brightest teams in the tournament. One of the brightest. And how did you fall like that? How? Even Ivory Coast too. Even Ivory Coast. How did you fall like that? These are things that we now need to begin to ask questions that has to do with, first of all, our system. Our system. What foundations have we laid in our respective countries? Mr. Mawa, I was watching, I think, the 2014 documentary of the World Cup, right? And I learned that after the 2002 World Cup, where Germany lost to Brazil in the finals, right? I think that was from that point on that the German Football Association began to build academies for football, and that's where we had the likes of Ozil, Kedira, I think Cruz, Andre Shaw. That's where they all came out from. Those academies that they built. Guess who won in 2014? This German team that we're talking about, in 2002 they were second, in 2006 they were third, in 2010 they were third. Can you imagine? Look at how close they came back to back before they eventually won it in
Who won it in
2014.
2014? Yeah.
Even Argentina of Messi, even Argentina in 2014 final, in 2018 quarter final, in 2022. Look at how close they. How many times have America? How many African teams have been close to that point? I want to
Well,
win it. It's not like it's not
except Morocco.
except Morocco. It's not fluke.
Hmm.
It's not fluke. And even Morocco now, they need to be able to have such a higher level of mindset going into this match against France, because this is the France team, or this is the French team that defeated them in the last edition of the World Cup. Going up
2-0.
against them again in the quarterfinals would obviously be like facing your enemies again. Because
True.
now you're like, oh, these people have defeated us, or they've defeated us before. Will they defeat us again? France now, they are going into that match with the mindset of, we have the best attack, we have the best centre back in the world. The quality of our midfield is good enough to be able to dictate the tempo of play, and we can hurt this team. France is not going there, especially Kylian Mbappe. He's not going there to be playing ping pong with Akraf Hakimi, who is his best friend. He's not going there to do that.
True.
He's going
True.
there to cement his legacy. Even
True.
look at this French team. 2014 won it. 2018 rather, they won it.
Won it
2022 they got to the
in the
finals and they
final.
were this close to winning it again.
Wins, yeah.
That's what we're
And,
saying. If
and
you
this
not
particular
cross that
tournament, they look
threshold,
like a team that will get to the final again. They
if
look
you
like
not,
a team that will get to the final.
in fact, as it is looking now, one of my friends, just to let you know, a lady, she watches football as well. She said it is beginning to look like Argentina France final again. It begins to look like it.
Okay, now,
If
now